Welcome to Money Briefing. Today we're covering a potential major rule change that could significantly impact Social Security disability insurance benefits. This proposed change has the potential to eliminate approximately $82 billion worth of disability benefits over the next decade and result in the denial of over 1.5 million disability applications. This is critical information for anyone currently applying for SSDI or considering filing in the future. Before diving into the details, let's clarify exactly what we're discussing. This information specifically concerns SSDI, which stands for Social Security Disability Insurance. This is separate from SSI, or Supplemental Security Income. While both programs serve disabled Americans, they operate under different rules and eligibility requirements. Today's focus is exclusively on SSDI and the proposed changes that could affect future applicants. The disability application process is already incredibly challenging. Current statistics show that only approximately 35% of disability applications receive approval. That means roughly 65% of applications are denied. These numbers alone illustrate how difficult it already is for disabled Americans to receive the benefits they need and deserve. The proposed changes we're discussing today could make this already difficult situation significantly worse for certain applicants. SSDI exists to provide financial support for individuals who become disabled during their working years and can no longer work at the capacity they once did. These benefits serve as a critical lifeline for Americans who have paid into the Social Security system throughout their careers and now find themselves unable to continue working due to disability. The program represents a promise made to working Americans that if disability prevents them from earning a living, support will be available. When someone files a disability application, adjudicators evaluate numerous factors to determine eligibility. One of the most significant factors in current evaluations is the applicant's age. The reasoning behind this is straightforward and reflects real-world employment realities. The simple truth is that as people age, finding employment becomes increasingly difficult. Someone in their 20s generally has an easier time finding work compared to someone in their 50s or 60s. This isn't a matter of opinion, but rather a well-documented reality of the modern job market. Older workers face significant challenges when seeking new employment, particularly when their previous skills may no longer align with current market demands. Under current rules, applicants who are 50 years of age or older have a higher probability of receiving disability benefit approval. This age consideration acknowledges the genuine difficulty older workers face when trying to re-enter the workforce, especially after sustaining a disability. The current framework recognizes that expecting a 58-year-old with a disability to compete for jobs against younger, able-bodied applicants is simply unrealistic. Conversely, applicants below the age of 50 generally face higher denial rates. The assumption is that younger individuals, even with certain disabilities, may have more options for adapting to different types of work or retraining for new careers. While this reasoning has its own criticisms, it represents the current framework under which millions of applications are evaluated. Here's where the situation becomes concerning. Officials are now considering significant changes to how age factors into disability determinations. Two potential modifications are under discussion. The first option would raise the age threshold from 50 to 60. Under this change, applicants would need to be 60 or older to receive the favorable age consideration that currently applies to those 50 and above. This would effectively remove age as a helpful factor for millions of Americans in their 50s who become disabled. The second and more drastic option would eliminate the age component entirely from disability eligibility calculations. This would mean that age would no longer be considered when evaluating whether someone qualifies for SSDI benefits. If age is completely removed from the eligibility equation, the practical effect would be placing a 25-year-old applicant on the exact same playing field as a 60-year-old applicant. On paper, this might sound like equality, but in reality, it ignores fundamental differences in employment prospects and adaptability. Consider the technological changes that have transformed virtually every industry over the past several decades. Someone who spent 30 years in manufacturing, office administration, or skilled trades may find their expertise largely obsolete in today's technology-driven economy. Meanwhile, younger workers have grown up with smartphones, computers, and digital systems. They possess an inherent familiarity with technology that many older workers simply cannot match regardless of effort or training. The integration of artificial intelligence into workplaces has accelerated this divide even further. AI is reshaping job requirements across every sector, and workers who entered the workforce decades ago could not have anticipated these changes. Expecting someone in their late 50s or early 60s to compete equally with someone in their 20s for technology-dependent positions ignores the reality of modern employment. The comparison isn't about capability or worth as individuals. It's about acknowledging that the job market treats different age groups differently, and disability determination rules should reflect that reality rather than pretend it doesn't exist. The financial implications of this proposed change are staggering. Analysts project that removing or significantly modifying the age factor could result in approximately $82 billion in disability benefits being denied over the next 10 years. That's not a minor policy adjustment. That represents $82 billion that would have otherwise gone to disabled Americans who currently qualify under existing rules. Additionally, an estimated 1.5 million people with legitimate disabilities could see their applications denied under the new framework. These are individuals who would have been approved under current rules, but would face denial simply because age would no longer work in their favor during the evaluation process. For context, the disability application process is already notoriously difficult. Applicants frequently face multiple denials, lengthy appeals, and waiting periods that can stretch for months or even years. Many disabled individuals exhaust their savings, lose their homes, or face severe hardship while waiting for decisions. Adding another barrier by removing age consideration would compound these existing difficulties. An important clarification is necessary here. These proposed changes would not affect current SSDI beneficiaries. If you are already receiving disability benefits, whether for 3 months, 3 years, or 20 years, this potential rule change would have zero impact on your monthly benefit. Your payments would continue as normal, regardless of what happens with these proposed modifications. The individuals who would face consequences are new applicants. Anyone who becomes disabled in the future and needs to apply for SSDI benefits would be subject to whatever rules are in place at the time of their application. If age considerations are removed or modified, future applicants in the affected age ranges would face a more difficult approval process than exists today. This distinction matters because it affects how people should think about this issue. Current beneficiaries can feel secure in their existing benefits while still advocating for fair treatment of future applicants who will need the same support system. Anyone who has navigated the SSDI application process understands exactly how grueling it can be. The weeks and months of waiting for responses, the frequent denials that require appeals, the documentation requirements, the medical evaluations, and the uncertainty throughout the entire process create enormous stress for already vulnerable individuals. Many applicants face denial after denial before eventually receiving approval, if they receive it at all. Some give up entirely, unable to continue fighting while dealing with their disabilities and the financial pressures of being unable to work. Others pass away before their applications are resolved. The system is already stacked against applicants in many ways, and removing age considerations would add another significant obstacle. As of now, this remains a proposal under consideration rather than a finalized policy change. Recent information suggests there may be significant hesitation about moving forward with modifications to the age parameters. Decision makers appear to recognize the substantial negative impact such changes would have on older disabled Americans. However, nothing is certain until official announcements are made. Policy discussions can shift based on political priorities, budget considerations, and administrative changes. What seems unlikely today could become reality tomorrow if circumstances change. This is why staying informed about these developments remains essential for anyone who might need SSDI benefits in the future or who cares about disabled Americans having access to the support they need. The potential elimination or modification of age considerations in SSDI determinations represents a significant policy shift that could affect millions of Americans. The $82 billion impact and 1.5 million denied applications aren't abstract numbers. They represent real people with real disabilities who would lose access to benefits they would otherwise receive. Age matters in employment. This isn't discrimination or bias. It's simply recognizing that the job market treats a 25-year-old differently than a 60-year-old, and disability policy should acknowledge that reality. Pretending otherwise doesn't create fairness. It creates hardship for those who already face enormous challenges. Money Briefing will continue monitoring this situation closely. Any developments regarding these proposed rule changes will be covered immediately, so you have the information you need. For now, current beneficiaries should feel secure that their benefits remain protected, while everyone should understand that future changes to the application process remain possible depending on how these policy discussions proceed. That's your Money Briefing for today.